Hi everyone, I am Alexandra Howard and I am the business librarian here at the University of Louisville. Today I'm going to demonstrate some library resources that will be helpful for your Biz 301 research projects. Evidence is an important part of business communication, and today you will find credible and reliable resources to use to find evidence that will support your projects. So we are starting here on the library homepage, and that is library.louisville.edu. And there are a lot of helpful resources here on the page. I'm going to show you where to find the library business databases and a research guide I made specifically for this class. So let's go to the box on the left side of the page which says Quick Tools, and we want to click the bottom link that says Subject Guides. So here you can find resources for all the different subjects at U of L. We want to look at business-specific resources, so let's click Business. On the left-hand side of the page, you can see recommended databases, and you can also open an alphabetical listing of all of our business databases. In the center, we see guides. These are research guides specific to certain topics or classes. The research guide for your class, Biz 301 Business Communication, is this third link. So let's click and open that. The first thing I want to point out on your guide is the URL. That is library.louisville.edu/extrum/bizcomm. And bizcomm is spelled BIZCOMM. It's a good idea to save this link in your favorites so you can come back here while you work on your project. Your professor may have also shared the link on Blackboard. So on the right side of the page here, you see my information. So my job is to support any research that happens in the College of Business. You can always email me for help with a research assignment. There's also this button where you can schedule an appointment with me. If you click the button, it's linked to my Outlook calendar, so you can just find a time that works for you and then fill out the form telling me about the research you're doing. The more detailed you are, the better, so I can prepare before we meet and help you find the best sources for your project. I can hold research appointments with you individually or with your team. These usually last 30 minutes, and we can do them at Extrum Library or virtually on Microsoft Teams or Blackboard Collaborate. I can help you come up with a research topic or help you find good sources to use that are relevant to your topic. I really encourage you all to reach out to me so I can help you with your research. The table of contents here on the guide discusses the different tabs of the guide and what you can find on each. We're going to take a look at a few different databases today, but there's so much more on this guide, so I encourage you to explore it on your own. Below the table of contents is a link to Research DIY. This is a fantastic resource to guide you along any research assignment at U of L. So as you can see, I opened the link here just to give you an idea of what this looks like. It walks you through every step of a research assignment, from starting your research assignment to searching databases, finding sources, using sources, and writing your research paper. I'm going to open this Google versus library research just as an example as what one of these tutorials looks like. So I know many of you may rely on Google for academic research, but I'm going to show you today why the library may be a better source of information. When you're using library databases, you know the information you're finding is credible and reliable. Most importantly, the library databases can get you behind paywalls on the internet. When you only rely on Google for research, you're finding a tiny fraction of the information on the internet because most of the information is hidden behind paywalls. The library pays millions of dollars a year to subscribe to databases that get you behind those paywalls, and you can use those databases for free as a U of L student. So let's get back to your Biz 301 research guide. And now we're going to take a look at some of those library databases. So first, let's click this tab for industry research. You may be doing research on a particular industry, like advanced manufacturing or lifelong wellness and aging, or you may be researching the higher education and community engagement industries. There are a lot of databases you can use to find industry reports that will be useful for your assignment. Before we get into a database, I want to start talking about coming up with keywords. So when you're using these databases, it's important to come up with a list of keywords to use to search. We all think about information differently, so the way you are saying something may be different than how someone else says it. It's important we think about synonyms and related terms for our industry. For higher education, this could be words like universities, colleges, post-secondary education, or academia. We also want to think about broader and narrower terms related to our industry. So if I'm researching the logistics industry, I'm going to add other keyword terms to my list, like operations, shipping, distribution, and e-commerce. If you struggle coming up with keywords, you can always reach out to me for help. All right, so let's go here under Industry Reports and open the third database, Mergent Intellect. To find industry reports, we'll scroll down on the home screen and click First Research. From here, you'll just need to add in your U of L email address and click Submit. All right, this is where our keywords come in handy. So we will want to do a keyword search to find our industry report. You may need to try a few different keywords to find relevant reports for your project. I'm going to do a search for logistics. We can see on this results page that there is not a report exactly on logistics, but these other reports come up which are all related to the logistics industry. I'm going to open up the trucking report as an example. I recommend you look at the different reports related to your assigned industry or business cluster. So when I open up the trucking report, the homepage gives a summary of the different sections of the report. You'll want to use these tabs on the left to read the different sections of the report. Let's start with Industry Overview. Here I get a list of major companies operating in the industry. I may want to add some of these to my keyword list. There is also data in the report about the competitive landscape in the industry, products and operations, technology, sales and marketing, finance, and international and regional highlights. You definitely want to read through this industry overview to get a good understanding of your industry. Next, we are going to click Quarterly Industry Update. This is a great place to go to read about what's new in your industry. This will give you the latest relevant information and also help you start thinking about potential problems and opportunities in your industry. Most of your projects are identifying a particular problem in your industry or in society and proposing a solution of how to help address and solve this problem. These reports can be really helpful in thinking about problems and solutions in your industry. In addition to this quarterly industry update, we also want to take a look at critical issues in the 3 links below it. Critical issues will give you information about problems the industry is currently facing. Business challenges will give you information about problems businesses operating within the industry are facing. Business trends will tell you what the latest trends are for businesses in the industry. This may give you ideas for solutions to the problem you identify. Finally, industry opportunities is another good place to find potential solutions. This will let you know what the opportunities are for the industry moving forward to thrive and to be successful. So you can download this industry report by clicking PDF version under Tools here at the top of the page. Here you can download the entire report by select all chapters, or you can just click which chapters you would like to download. Again, remember to read multiple reports that may be related to your topic. At the bottom of the page, you can find links to reports on related industries. All right, let's go back to your research guide and check out another database. So again, we are here under industry research on your research guide. And now we're going to click the last link on this industry report list, Statista. Statista is a great source for finding visual evidence. Visual evidence can be really powerful to use in business communication. A lot of times using a visual representation of data, like an infographic or chart, will make more of an impact than just using words and numbers. In Statista, again, we are going to rely on our list of keywords. You want to do simple keyword searches here in Statista. I'm going to do an example search for elderly hair. You can see that we get over 1,000 results. I'm going to move through some of the source types here on the left to show you what kind of reports you can find on Statista. First, let's click Statistics, because this is really the base of Statista. These are individual statistics related to the keyword you searched. I'm going to open up this second statistic, U.S. Caregivers' Concerns Regarding COVID-19 Infection Risk 2020. When you open the statistic, you see we get this nice chart. When we scroll down, there's an analyst description that provides some more details about the information we are seeing. To the right of the statistic, we see source information. This can be very valuable. We don't need to verify if the source is credible because remember, we're using a library database that we know is a credible source. But I recommend looking at the source link because it may give you more data to explore related to your topic. Sometimes we will hit a paywall here, but often we can open the source link and read the full report. So we can see here when I open this source link that there is a longer report that this statistic was taken from. It may be helpful for my research to read through this report to see if there is any other evidence I want to use in my project. Statista makes it really easy to download the chart in a variety of formats. One of the most awesome features of this database is that it will also generate a citation for you. If we click the quotation marks, we can select the citation style we are supposed to use in our assignment, and then all we need to do is copy and paste that citation to our Works Cited page. Let's go back to the Statista results screen and look at another type of source. Sometimes you will find infographics related to your topic. If I open one of these, you can see that you have this nice analyst right up at the top. And then you have the infographic below. We have this download chart option, and also again we have the citation feature. So you can see this is a really great source of visual evidence to use in your report. Where I typically start when I do a search on Statista is with topics. Topics pages put all the relevant statistics and facts Statista has on a certain topic in one place for you. Let's open home care in the U.S. We can see this was published very recently, today in fact. At the top, we can see again there's this analyst write-up, which you'll want to read to provide some context to the numbers you're seeing on the page. On the right, we get some key figures related to the topic. All of these link out to one of those statistics that we first looked at. When we scroll down, we can see all the statistics on the topic organized into different categories. And on the right, we see reports on related topics that may also be relevant to our research. Finally, let's go back to the results page and click Dossiers. These are downloadable PDF reports similar to topics pages. All of the statistics and facts Statista has on a certain topic are put together into one report. If we open one of these, you can see what's included in the report in the table of contents. You can download this as a PowerPoint or a PDF. We can also see the price of the report here. Again, this shows how valuable the library is, because if you are not using the library subscription to Statista, you would need to pay $495 for the report. So those are the main highlights of Statista. I encourage you to try different keyword searches in this database and try to find a piece of visual evidence to use in your project. All right, now we are going back here to your research guide, and we're going to click the tab for trade and news publications. On the top right, I have links to different national business publications and newspapers that you can access through the library. You may want to do some keyword searches within these publications for information related to your project. On the left, there are a few databases that search lots of different kinds of publications. Let's take a look at ABI Inform. Again, when we're in this database, we're going to rely on our list of keywords to search for articles that may be useful for our project. I recommend you try different combinations of keyword results to see what you get. So let's say we want to do a search for problems facing our assigned business cluster, advanced manufacturing. I'm going to type in advanced manufacturing, and I'm putting that in quotation marks so it searches for those terms together. Then I'm going to type in challenges. Now I'll click search. You can see we have a lot of results. You'll want to use the search filters over here on the left to narrow down your results and find the best pieces of evidence for your research topic. First, I click Exclude Wire Feeds. Wire feeds are brief summaries of larger articles, and I want to read a whole article. I'm also going to click Full Text. I want to make sure I'm getting results that I can read the full text of in this database. Next, I'm going to go down to publication date. It's important we can find recent data to use as evidence. You can decide what makes the most sense for your project, but usually we recommend looking for data from the last 5 years. I'm going to click Enter a Date Range. This will usually look blank, but I will type in 2017, and then I will type in 2021. And I'll now click Update. We can see we still have a lot of results, but it's a lot less than we started with. So from here, I will start scanning my results to see what may be useful. I can also limit my results by source type. So we see here scholarly journals. Scholarly journals are written by researchers and universities. You may find that someone has done a research study that may be useful to your project. Newspapers and magazines can also be reliable and good sources of information. Another great source type for business research are trade journals. Trade journals are written by professionals working in specific business industries. These can be fantastic sources of data because often people will be writing and researching about the kinds of information you are looking for as a business student. So let's click trade journals, and we will only see sources that are trade journals. If we find an article that looks interesting, we can go ahead and open it. I often prefer to click Full Text PDF. I feel that the formatting usually looks nicer and it's easier for me to read the article as a PDF. We have the option to download this PDF or to email ourselves the article directly from this database. Again, we also see the Cite feature here. If we click Cite, we can select our citation style from the drop-down menu, and our citation will be generated for us to use in our work cited. ABI Inform is a fantastic source to find evidence, but it can be kind of tricky to navigate. If you have questions about using keywords or narrowing your results, remember, you can always reach out to me. The last section of the research guide we're going to explore today is Louisville Market. Most of you are looking for Louisville-specific information for your research project. There are lots of resources linked here, so I encourage you to take the time to explore what's listed. I'll show you a couple now. If we click Quick Census Facts under Demographics, this will give us some general demographic and population data about Louisville that may be useful for our project. Under Economic Development Agencies, let's open the Greater Louisville Project. This will take us to annual competitive city reports focused on Louisville's areas of highest potential impact. This can be a really good place to come to get ideas about community engagement projects the university could do, or to find potential problems specific to Louisville facing your industry. If we scroll down, we can find links to reports from the last few years. Let's open 2020. Here we can see the different sections of the report. Let's open up Black Wealth. Here we can find different national and local data specific to wealth in the Black community. So these are data points and also different charts that may be useful for our research project. All right, the last thing I want to point out on the Louisville Market is this local media section. You have access to the Courier-Journal and Louisville's Business First publication. It may be a good idea to do some keyword searches in these publications to find Louisville-specific information about your topic. The last thing I want to mention today is the Special Topics page. This has more information about generating keywords and also information about diversity and inclusion and sustainability, which some of you may be researching for your projects. Some of you will be doing projects related to community engagement. If you click the arrow on the Special Topics tab, a page comes up for community engagement. If you open that page, I provide resources that will be specifically helpful for community engagement research. So please remember to reach out to me with any questions, and good luck with your projects. At the bottom of the homepage, please take the Library Instruction Reflection Survey to let me know if you learned something new through this video. Thank you.